Hello friends, welcome to our course Threat Hunting in Cyber World. So in this part we'll be looking at machine learning and threat hunting, which equals out to an advanced hunting. So as discussed in our last part where we have discussed threat hunting using SIM, we have seen that multiple SIM vendors nowadays have been incorporating machine learning model or AI assistant model to perform threat hunting. So the traditional SIM basically works on correlation rules and alarms, but nowadays machine learning model also made its way to a SIM vendor. Basically, UEBA model, which is user entity and behavior analytics, is the most common solution or the most common model which is being used, which in turn uses machine learning in the backend to provide any kind of analytics to the people. So as I stated, multiple SIM vendors are using machine learning or AI to assist to threat hunting. So what is machine learning? So machine learning is nothing but a model in the backend, an algorithm you can say, which basically combines or classifies or associate a similar kind of logs together to identify and detect any kind of anomalies into your network traffic. So what is a machine learning model? It depends upon the training data you have. So a machine learning model will actually look at your data logs which you have. It will learn out something out of those data. It will create a it will help himself to run out of it, and it will create a model out of itself. Now that model can be based on classification, association, and many other different types of models are there. So once it has properly learned the data which you have, which is the logs, it will create a baselining for those. And once the baselining is done, any kind of anomalies, any kind of abnormal behaviors other than the baselining, your machine learning model or your SIM model will show us an alert or show us a spike or something like that, saying that it is getting deviated from baselining. So that is what will be able to identify and detect any kind of anomalies. Classification here means it will classify a group of things as a single, like you have a few systems on which windows are successfully logged in, so this kind of systems regularly log on to this system, or this five systems regularly take RDP of the system, so classify them as a single group. Now if someday some other kind of systems try to log into a system, your machine learning model will say that this is not what I learned, so it will show us or throw us an alert. Now that can be a true positive, that can be a false positive. There the manual intervention comes into picture and you need to analyze further. Association. Basically, it associates some task with the other. Like if a person logs onto the system and a person takes usually opens outlook.com or some other basically applications of your day-to-day life in your environment or enterprise. Now someday a person logs into the system and opens some Tor website or onion website. So that's not a normal behavior of a normal day-to-day activity of a user account or a computer account. So that's the association algorithm which usually machine learning model creates. So if something unusual comes up which is not associated with the activity, this will throw us an alert. So that's how machine learning and AI assist your SIEM to help you in getting into the machine assisted or the automated way of threat hunting. But again, to analyze those results or the alerts, we always require a manual or a human intervention. Network traffic spike, unusual user account, computer behavior, any deviation from the baseline can be identified by using such techniques. Analytics is widely used in modern day world, and it has found its place in cybersecurity as well. So various analytical approaches are being used in each and every field, and even in cybersecurity, we know that machine learning and AI is finding its place in each and every product. May it be endpoint solution, may it be an email security solution, may it be a cloud solution, or may it be an SIEM solution or a red teaming or a blue teaming solution. Machine learning is being used day in and day out for each and every task right now, and you need to make it understand that machine learning is not a 100% true positive way, it can be a false positive as well. So it's your human intervention which comes into picture, where you need to analyze those results which are being thrown out by your machine learning model. But in a real world scenario where you're monitoring out for a large organization, where you have 30,000 or 40,000 EPS for a single receiver or a single data source, at that scenario Don't you think it is impossible for a single threat hunter to look out for so large amount of attack techniques? And after looking out for those attack techniques, it is impossible for him to cover those in a day or in a week time or so. So in that scenario, you need to understand the threat hunting process or the threat hunting loop which we told about. The generation of the hypothesis, testing of the hypothesis, and automation of the task. So at that point where you automate the task, your machine learning will also come into picture. So you can actually create a some kind of learning out there in machine learning models as well, or you can take the output of the machine learning model in that sense and combine your automation into that to provide an advanced hunting out of it. So it is not possible for a human or a single threat hunter to look day in day out for entire huge chunk of logs out there. So in that scenario, if it's impossible for the person to look out for such a huge amount of logs, you need to take assistance of machine learning into your picture. So if you use machine learning or AI assistants alerts or outputs, your half of the work will be done by this machine learning algorithm. So because it will be able to find out any kind of deviations from the baselining. And regarding the other stuff like the latest kind of an attack or the latest threat report, you can look out for the indicators, do a manual or a human hunting out there and look out for threat hunting. So the machine learning, when used with the help of for performing the threat hunting, it helps us to identify it is a advanced hunting. So various vendors, as I said, Microsoft Defender, Endpoint Solution, Microsoft ATA, which is used for performing or identifying attacks with related to Active Directory attacks, QRadar, SIEM, FireEye, they are all using this machine learning or analytics to make a way out of getting into the advanced hunting feature. Let's quickly look at some example of these tools. Yes, so that's all. As I said, you cannot fully automate your hunting thing because there is always will be a human intervention required. So as I can say that threat hunting can be semi-automated, but it can't be fully automated. So now you can see over here a machine learning and threat hunting in this way. Windows Defender Security Center screenshot, wherein this Center Defender has been using the security analytics or machine learning at the back end, and then it will be able to join the dots between the multiple processes or any kind of threat activities which has been happening in your organization. So if some kind of a malicious website is trying to communicate to a system, and that website or that file, if something has got downloaded, it is trying to open a process, and then that process is trying to do some malicious activity. So this kind of solutions or the Windows Defender or ET will try to connect dots out of the events which have happened, and that will be assisted with the help of machine learning algorithms, because the baselining has already been created and something other than the baselining, this will throw us an alert. So this was the example of remote WMI execution. So some system is trying to take access or remote of the system and trying to execute WMI execution command on the system. Another such example is Microsoft ATA. So here you can see Microsoft Advanced Threat Analytics. Here it is able to identify pass the hash attack. Now ATA usually collects all those logs from the domain controller, and then it tries to look out for any kind of threats with respect to Active Directory attacks like pass the hash attacks, Kerberos attacks. There are various other kind of attacks like golden ticket attacks and silver ticket attacks. So Microsoft ATA use analytics in the backend, uses machine learning module, and it tries to identify whether something malicious or something anomalous has been happening into your environment. So ATA is a very good tool for identifying any kind of Active Directory attacks. As you can see over here, administrative Kerberos tickets are stolen from this to this, and it's used to access DC01. So that's where your analytical power comes into picture. A single human person or a man can't look at each and every systems or a domain controller machines and look out for any kind of anomaly happening into the environment. So there should be some kind of machine assisted way to help you to get into a process where at a single point of time then your human intervention comes into picture, and then you need to perform or carry out the threat hunting, which would be a advanced hunting at that point because you are using the analytical power out of various tools. So that's it for this part. As I said, threat hunting is looking out for stuff, searching out for stuff. But what is wrong if some kind of tools assist you in providing that? So any kind of tools, as example, Microsoft ATA, Windows Defender, your any kind of fire analyticals, all these tools will be able, or machine learning algorithms, or any other threat hunting tools which uses machine learning. If these tools will be able to identify some kind of analytics and some kind of output out to you, you will be able to have your intervention at the point which is required, and then you will be able to continue that threat hunting process or threat hunting program. And it would be a more advanced hunting rather than a manual hunting, because manual hunting is possible, but it would require a dedication of a proper threat hunter day in and day out, and that is, if you have a large chunk of data, it would be a next to impossible. So it's better to use such kind of a tools or analytics to help you in your way. Thank you very much for this part. Hope you're liking this video series. Bye bye.